This is Let's Be Briefed, where we cover mysteries, conspiracies, and other unknowns each week. Let's get into it.
In 1947, a mysterious crash appeared on a New Mexico ranch. The events that followed have become one of the first and most recognizable major UFO stories in United States history. I'm Sydney,
And I'm Sarah.
and this week we'll be discussing the Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash.
Oh.
Do you know anything about this? You don't like aliens.
Yeah, I don't really like aliens, but I do occasionally research aliens just to be aware of the possibilities. I don't know. I know a little bit about it, mostly from the History Channel.
Okay, yeah, that was one of my main sources on this, so you may not
It's
get
okay.
any new information, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, in the summer of 1947, W. Mac Brazel found a large wreckage site on his ranch, which was 75 miles north of Roswell. That same year, there had already been reports of flying saucers and UFOs in the area. So Brazel brought the parts of the wreckage to the Roswell sheriff, who then contacted the commanding officer of the Roswell Army Airfield. But can you imagine finding, like, you're just out on your ranch and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, was it really spread out? That's what, well, you said large, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like a huge ranch.
Yeah. Oh, okay. How would you even recognize? I guess it looked silver, right?
Yeah, it must have, like, I heard some people said that there was like a giant like gouge in the ground, but
Oh.
this happened so long ago. I feel like it was not well documented, at least not to the public.
Right. I didn't realize it was right after World War II.
Right, really close.
Yeah. Hmm.
I always thought it was like the 50s, or I guess it's close to the 50s, or like 55 or something. I don't know. I guess I didn't never paid attention.
Yeah, I thought 50s too for some reason. Were we fed that?
Maybe. I think it's just like that whole alien thing was really popular in the 50s. Like UFOs,
Oh.
flying saucers. Like, in my mind, I connect that with the 50s, but I don't know. Like, immediately when they said there was a airfield, an army airfield in Roswell, I was like, well, duh, it's the military. Like, I already debunked this for myself. I'm like, they're just messing around. They don't want to admit it.
From step one, you're already like, oh, it's the military.
Yeah.
Did they find little bodies or whatever?
That's what they say. We'll get
Oh,
to that. We'll get to
okay,
that.
okay, okay.
So, the Army Air Base released a statement the following day saying that the many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality yesterday when the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, was fortunate enough to gain possession of a disc through the cooperation of one of the local ranchers and the sheriff's office of Chaves County. So the military put out a statement saying this is that they found a UFO. Which why
Yeah.
did they think that was a better story than they found one of our super secret whatever? I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe they thought that was like a good cover.
Well, wait, aren't they doing that anyway? Like, I thought they regularly do that because they're like, oh, just UFO, because that doesn't necessarily mean alien.
Right, that's true. That's true. But they said flying disc.
Yeah, right. Also, fortunate enough to gain possession. Why'd they
Right.
say it like that?
I don't
Like they've been
know.
wanting one?
They're like, "Ooh, we're in for a treat."
I know, this seems weird, but maybe that's how you talk back then. I don't know.
I don't know. The next day, the Roswell Daily Record, which was like the local newspaper, ran a story about the crash, and included the information from the Army release, and the Army officials quickly said no, it was actually a weather balloon. And they included a picture of Major Jesse Marcel, who was like the officer in charge of overseeing the investigation. The picture was of him holding a piece of the wreckage, but I was listening to a podcast, and the two guests on the podcast were like some of the most, they've written quite a few books about Roswell, and this is like their little special interest. And they were saying that later Marcel like told the story when he was interviewed that he had brought in actual pieces of the wreckage to the military office, and they had all the press there, but he walked in and set the wreckage down, like a chunk of it, down on someone's desk, and then he was asked to talk to someone in a different room. And when he came back, it was pieces of the weather balloon that were on the desk, and he was looking at them. And then they let the press in while he was looking at the weather balloon pieces. And I guess, like, I included a picture here, but he kind of does look like a, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Like, if you know that context, he looks like he's like, okay.
He does. I've always seen that photo of it too.
Right. I mean, that's like the photo, but allegedly he's said that that's not what he brought in, and that it was switched, and that they had the press there basically planning to do this the whole time. Like, they let one guy in to take pictures of it while he's being kind of caught off guard, and just, that was like it. That's the picture. And that seems like something they would do to me. Like, that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
Wait, why even let him bring the actual wreckage first?
Because they needed it. Like, they wanted it.
Oh,
And then
so
they
they like stole
swapped
it.
out. Yeah. They tricked
Wow.
him.
Wow. I could believe that.
Yes. And this would not be the last time that the U.S. Air Force would change their story on what was actually recovered. So first, it's a UFO, then it's a weather balloon. But in 1994, they also made a statement that the wreckage was actually a listening device that was connected to high-altitude balloons, like with microphones. Like,
Oh.
balloons with microphones that they would float them over the USSR and listen to what they were saying. But to me, that seems like a stretch. Like, what are they hearing at high altitude?
Right, wouldn't you just hear all like the wind and like
Yeah, it
air
would just be like,
noises? Right.
like I just, that seems even less likely. I'd be more likely to believe it was a weather balloon, especially because in the 40s, like, what listening technology did they have?
Yeah. Also, I was thinking like in the 40s, like that's right after the war, like that's not really Cold War really yet.
I think it kind of was like the beginning, but
Already?
yeah,
2 years
I don't
after?
know. It just seems unlikely to me. I
Yeah.
would be more inclined to believe it was a weather balloon and that everyone was freaking out over nothing. But I don't even know what a weather balloon looks like, so I don't know.
Would a weather balloon be that much wreckage? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
I mean, it's just a
really think so
giant
either.
thin balloon,
I don't know.
like stretched long, right? And then
Oh, I've never seen one somehow.
I feel like I've seen one in a picture, but maybe it's not true. I don't know. I think it's aliens still.
Do you think it's aliens?
Well, it's the classic alien story. If it's
Well,
not aliens
yeah.
here, then there's no aliens anywhere, which actually I'm okay with, but
What about, have you heard of like the Tic Tac videos?
the what?
This is so off subject. The Tic Tac videos.
Oh yeah, the like flying Tic
I believe
Tac.
those are aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there's aliens for sure, but why are they letting us see them?
Because they want us to
We're
know.
too stupid. Yeah, they're gonna take over our
I
planet.
know. So there were some eyewitnesses that claimed that they saw alien bodies being taken from the crash site and there were like many reports of this, but those were all explained away as parachute test dummies. And I'm like, why did they need parachute test dummies for a listening device? Like,
Yeah.
this was an unmanned craft, supposedly.
I feel like they're just saying everything they
I
can.
know, I know.
Like
They're like, oh
what?
no, those weren't real.
Yeah. Also, who's the eyewitnesses though? Like this is on a ranch. Who's there? Who's around to see this?
I have no idea.
Also, I'm kind of confused how no one heard a crash.
Well, if it's like some of these ranches are like 100,000 acres. I don't know how big this one was, but if it happened during a storm or something, I don't know. I could see
Yeah.
not hearing it, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's get into where some of these alien stories came from then. The first mention of alien bodies came from a secondhand report, which all of these are secondhand because they're from books. But a civil engineer named Grady Barney Barnett and some archaeology students from an unnamed university were on the plains of San Augustine. And the stories, I guess they supposedly saw alien bodies or claimed that they saw alien bodies.
Hmm.
And that was from the book titled The Roswell Incident, which was published in 1980. So we're like 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
aliens weren't. I mean, obviously, the alien initially, that was kind of a thing, and the press freaked out. But the first time anyone said they saw bodies was in 1980.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought it was way sooner than that.
I apparently not. At least not from what I was able to find. If anyone knows, I don't
If
I
anyone
don't
was
know.
there, please let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were there. And you're like 100 listening to this.
I mean, the fact that an engineer is saying this, though.
Right. And then in 1989 there was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries that also had secondhand stories from this Barney Barnett, who claimed he saw alien bodies and was captured by the the aliens were being captured by the army, and then a pilot named Pappy Henderson transported the bodies from Roswell to Texas, which I believe the like commanding like the Fort Worth base was in charge of the Roswell base. Like they
Oh,
reported to them, so it would make sense that they would bring it to Fort Worth.
yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
but after this episode aired, a mortician named Glenn Davis called the show's hotline, which funny, TV shows do not have hotlines like that anymore, but they were like looking for tips, and he said that he had received 4 or 5 calls from the airbase asking how to preserve bodies and how to create a hermetically sealed casket. And he also claimed that a local nurse had told him she had taken part in an alien autopsy.
What?
But is he just a crackpot? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, maybe I'm why at the time, I guess why would he think anything of that? But why wouldn't the military know how to preserve a body?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to call the local mortician.
Right. That seems weird, but also this was a long time ago, and I would not be surprised if
89? Not that long
no,
ago.
I mean when this
Oh,
happened. Like
he said it
he
in 89.
called
Yeah,
and
yeah,
said it
yeah.
in 89,
Right.
but
I don't know. I wasn't thinking.
and like I could see the nurse being like, "Yeah, I took part in that." Like make it up. I don't know. People make up stories all the time, but I also wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if the military did nothing about it because they're like, "Yeah, no one's gonna believe them. Who cares?" Like what?
Well,
What?
right.
Someone's gonna believe she did an autopsy on an alien? Ha 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 ha.
But I feel like they also like make people not say anything, right? Like for other
Yeah, they
stories
try
and stuff.
to.
Yeah.
But like I feel like sometimes their like strategy for dealing with it is just ignore it and it'll go away, but if you start giving attention to it, then
Then they come up.
and it was
Yeah.
30 years ago, so that's like a long time to keep quiet, but
Yeah.
I just don't I don't know how I feel about that